6th of October at the Marriott Hotel Ike is your destination for content acquisitions, aggregation, licensing, and distribution of both local and international programs across for broadcasters in Nigeria. For more inquiries, visit www.africast.com.ng. Content Hub, your easy and affordable access to quality and affordable content. Don't miss out. The Africast Content Hub, brought to you by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, in collaboration with NIFS.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. Up next, we'll be talking about this issue on education. The Nigerian Red Cross has warned that the proliferation of court groups in primary and secondary schools in the country is a ticking time bomb. I have to stress that it's a ticking time bomb. A member of the National Governing Board of the NRC, the Nigerian Red Cross, Sir Eddie Agidi Begbaje, gave the warning when the members of Oshimile South Division of the NRC honored him with a presentation of a trophy won by the Ogidi Begbaje House. He warned that if the trend is not checked, it will become a serious social problem. Ogidi Begbaje, also the Permanent Secretary, Directorate of Government House and Protocol, urged youth and teenagers to take advantage of the programs offered by the NRC to make significant contributions to building up a peaceful society where opportunities could abound for their development. He urged Nigerian youth and teenagers to be deeply involved in humanitarian and voluntary services. I'm always pleased and happy when I see the young ones making successful contributions to nation building, and they should be encouraged, Ogidi Begbaje stated. Now, the issue of the proliferation of court groups in primary and secondary schools is one that baffles me. Baffles me because these are very tender and young group of individuals at a point where it's more like a very fertile soil where you plant anything and it grows, it blossoms. And by the time they get into the adult age, whatever you have succeeded in planting at that point begins to manifest, begins to bear fruit. And then we have issues of social vices, crime, criminality, and a whole lot of vices in the society. And we keep wondering what exactly is going on. It started from the tender ages. Yeah. Now, if we have, I remembered sometime a church member on the church platform, he said that, I think that was the time we're talking about the snake bite symbol that was trending sometime, where some group of primary school students were getting initiated into a cult. And he said, oh, wow, my daughter came back from school. She was in her primaries. I think she is still in primaries up to this moment. Came back from school and said, Mommy, they asked us to join. My classmates asked us to join snake bite. And they would have to draw the symbol on their bodies wherever they decide to do that. And the mom just played about it like, what is snake bite? It didn't make any sense to anybody. But when that issue started trending, he reflected on what the wife had told him that the daughter told her. And they called the daughter and started questioning. This is very serious. I mean, if you have one or two, I don't know how it works, but I still believe these people are too very tender. Whoever is introducing them to cultism at such a very tender age is not doing them any good. You're not doing not just them bad, you're doing the schools, you're doing the community, you're doing the society at large, and Nigeria is going to bear the brunt of it at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, you succeeded in destroying not just a single individual, you've succeeded in harming a nation.
I don't know the level of attention that teachers in primary, secondary school pay to children, whether it's just in a classroom to checkmate their assignment, to know, I mean, don't make noise in class and all of those. I don't know if they really check how these children behaves, because the moment they leave their house, they are under your care. You should know what goes on with these children. And there's one beautiful thing in the world now, because I remember one of my nephew came back home and they wanted to, this is what you should do. Like, she was like, no, You can't tell me this one, auntie. This is what my auntie asked me to do. This is what my auntie asked me to go about it. It means that there are so many things teachers knows about your children that you don't even know. So I don't know the level of attention. That's what I'm saying. I do not know the level of attention they pay to these children. Because most time, teachers do not know what children do when they go out for break. Most of these things does not happen in classroom. It happens outside the classroom where they go to play. I remember a young boy said in a particular school, secondary school, they will come from one technical school. Once it's time for break, they will come all the way to this particular secondary school to come and initiate them. What they do is that they will, I don't know where they get the uniform, whether they have to sew it or something. They will disguise themselves in this particular uniform, come to this school to come and initiate these children into doing this thing. And I know that during this Guba election, and then while we went to vote, a young boy was saying, all these things, if it is that time was very bad, it not have changed. I know what I would have done here. That in secondary school, they told them that when you are being initiated into one of these groups, you will become very intelligent, you will pass all the courses, you will have chance to see all the leaders in the world when you grow up, and nobody can challenge you, but you can stand in front of anybody. And this is psychological problem that we are talking about. When you keep hearing a particular thing over and over again, one day you will sit down and be like, no, this thing, let me give it a trial. Do you understand?
It's very, very appalling. It's very appalling because this is the modern stage for these children, and whatever they grow to become depends on what they have already been fed. And just like you said, first of all, they build this fear into you. You need some form of protection. You need some form of brotherhood to always stand up for you. I mean, when you're going for lunch break and someone is harassing you, you just know that there's someone you can beckon on to come as a backup, and then that person is off. But the truth is, nobody can intimidate you. Nobody can do anything to hurt you. If you say no to joining these cult groups, nobody's going to do anything wrong to you. The truth also is that you do not need to join a cult group to be excellent, to be academically excellent. You do not need to join. You do not need to join a cult group to stand out in life. Now, take a break. If you're a teenager, if you're in primary, if you're in secondary school watching this right now, just take a break and think about those who have been killed, those who have been destroyed, those who have ended up as nobodies because they joined cult groups that couldn't save them at the end of the day. Think about those who didn't make a thing out of it. Do your research. It's an internet age. Google it. People who have died because of cult-related activities, and then think back and ask yourself, why are you going to join something that is not going to be fruitful at the end of the day?
A very good question to ask.
There is nothing there for you to benefit. Sit down, read your books. In fact, I remember when I was in secondary school, we had every Friday, we had what we call divine service. That was all. I don't know if that's still what it's called right now. But then the director brings in people to talk to us. Either they are pastors, counselors, people from different walks of life, even medical doctors. And then they come every now and then to talk to you. Now, if you hear all of this, you just know that, I mean, there's no leeway over there.
Exactly. See,
children need to be constantly fed with the right information.
You know, when we have been, anything we are saying, all of this boils down to charity begins at home, begins at home. One thing that parents do not do these days, they don't talk with their children.
Most parents,
they don't. When I mean they don't talk with their children, I don't mean like coming back. Have you eaten? What? Let me see your homework. Most times, the same way you are forcing your children to do assignments, sit them. Even if, because there is nothing you do over and over again for 21 days that will not become part of you.
Right.
So the best thing to do is create, even if it's 25 minutes. In fact, 25 is too much. You can take 15 minutes a day. Sit your children. Doing it weekends is not even enough. I know that I know of some families that will be like, the only time we pray is on Saturday. That's when nobody's going to school, nobody goes to work, and all of that. Even if it's 10 minutes, sit your children down. Don't just tell them about school. Tell them all all of these things. So every day, have a particular topic you're talking about. You know, when my mom was like, no, you don't have to talk about all this sex life because it has a way of spoiling a child. I told my mother, tell me everything. So when I see children, those ones that are close to me, I tell them everything the way it is. I tell them raw. There's nothing like trying to paint pictures, because when you go out, another person will tell you the way it is, and you will feel that that one is more authentic than what your auntie or what your mother tells you. It is good you talk to your children about it. Even if you know that they have cultism in school. If you're listening, if you're watching us right now, sit your children, tell them about it. And like you talk about, this is internet where we have so many persons out there that are like, I am regretting joining this thing at the age of 40, at the age of 25, and all of those. I'm regretting joining. I have not benefited from all of this. Some of them can't even cross their community anymore. Some of them can't even go to where their friends are anymore because they are scared in the next minute. I don't know where bullets will come from. I might die. So parents need to do a whole lot, because we are talking about primary and secondary school here, not even universities. So you can still talk to them. You can still tell them this thing, because children, the more you talk to them, whatever thing you tell them sticks in their head. That's why you see a child, you can just be saying something. Before you know, your baby will start saying it. You don't necessarily have to teach. It's because this child has overheard you say this thing over and over again. It is high time we start talking to our children and stop painting words. I don't know if your mother paints words to you. If they want to call this particular part of the body, they will paint it. I remember somebody calling one particular part Vivi. I'm like, what is Vivi? What exactly is Vivi? Call it the way it is. And you know what happened? That very day, she went to school. When she came back, she was like, Mommy, you have been lying to me. This thing is not called Vivi. This is what it's called. So from that day now, it is difficult even believe what her mother says, except her teacher tell her this is what it is. The mother will talk to her and she'll be like, Mommy, when I get to school, I'm going to ask my auntie. It is not ought to be like that.
I strongly believe that schools should sit up. Now, teachers, you need to have the eagle's eye. You need to be everywhere at the same time. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Just right.
But you really need to have the eagle's eye. So, in the classrooms, you watch them. While they're outside on their lunch breaks, you also put an eye. I think the schools should also have, apart from classroom teachers, apart from the minders, apart from the regular gates man or security man, as we call them, there should be some other people within the premises keeping an eye on these children. What do they do when they are on the break? What do they do when they are in their groups of 5, 6, or what have you? What do they do at those times? And again, like I said, keep feeding them with the right information. Once in a while, organize for seminars, organize for talks, organize for some lectures. Advises children, whatever you tell them, it tends to stick to them. It tends to stick with them for a very long time and helps them shape their future. The schools have so much responsibility as much as the parents do. I just hope that this issue of cultism in schools, we are going to tackle it ASAP. And I hope that the government is also going to do their own bit in the fight. And it can't be left we are at the level of the schools, because if we do that, the public schools might really have some level of deficiencies because of the volume, the number of students we have in these schools. Most times they are really overwhelming, and then we have just maybe 1 or 2 teachers. So if we have a cooperation, the government, the schools, private, public, everyone is working together to ensure that cultism in schools, primary, secondary, is totally eliminated.
That's what I'm thinking too, because you mentioned something like that, because it's not just enough to say we urge the children, we hope, we want them to do this. It's not enough to urge. This is children we're talking about, and talking about the number, especially if you go to government school, you see that you have quite a number you can't even imagine. Maybe if they have to employ other bodies, organizations for now to just come into this place, even if it's for this year or maybe in the next 6 or 7 months, to be able to curb this menace. Now that is in the picture that this is what is going on in secondary school, it will work. But if government just come out and say, yes, we urge these children, then you don't put any modalities in place, I'm sorry, because this might just end up, escalating, who knows?
Like I always say, these are the few future leaders, our leaders of tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow is very close to us, and we do not need to destroy the leaders of tomorrow, because we'll end up having, I don't know, maybe
Anita,
tyrants.
tomorrow is today.
No.
Tomorrow is today. We don't have tomorrow again.
We'll end up having tyrants at the helm of affairs if we do not raise these children very well. It's our responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to raise better leaders of tomorrow. Let's go straight up to our last issue for today on unemployment data. Nigerians, particularly the army of unemployed persons who are in millions, were taken aback on Thursday, August 31st, 2023, when the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, released a report that the country's unemployment rate had dropped from 33.3% to 4.1%. A senior official of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, who preferred anonymity, said the fact is that any statistical data that is not truly representative of the facts on ground loses its validity. We know that the unemployment figure in Nigeria cannot be falling when the reality is that we have factories that are closing and leaving the country because of the difficult operating environment. You then ask yourself, where are the new jobs that have absorbed the hundreds of thousands of graduates that are entering the labor market annually? The truth is that rebasing the unemployment template in order to get a lower figure for unemployment is not helpful, because it may undermine the credibility of the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics work in the future. We sincerely suggest that figures of statistics dished out to Nigerians can only achieve its purpose when they align with the objective realities on ground, no matter how bitter it may be. The idea that anybody who earns 1,000 naira a week is in employment smacks of attempts at the gerrymandering the unemployment rate to cover the inability of the state to perform its responsibilities to the economy and Nigerians. For the Assistant General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, Chris Onyeka, said, if the NBS claims it adopted the ILO's methodology, who are the stakeholders involved in using that template? What were the sources of their data? It is just like rebasing the economy to say you are doing better, whereas you are not. The reality is that more Nigerians are out of work now than before. The data has to be reviewed. We have messed up governance in Nigeria, including the judiciary and the legislature. Now it is an NBS institution. The Center for Social Justice lead director Eze Onyekbere said since 2020, Nigeria's economic challenges have increased with galloping inflation and factory closures. The whole basis of a job report is to help the government to determine whether its plans, policies and laws geared towards reducing unemployment achieve the desired milestones. What is the point of a job report that tells the government that more Nigerians are employed when it is clear and notorious fact that unemployment is increasing? It is laughable. Well, the truth is the statistics from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics stated that Nigerian unemployment rate has dropped from a 33.3% to 4.1%. Means that we have more Nigerians employed right now, or I would rather say we have more Nigerians engaged right now. But most stakeholders are not taking it lightly. They feel that that data is inaccurate. The question is, does being engaged mean being employed? Because we have more Nigerians engaged, we have several Nigerians on the streets unemployed, but they are doing one thing or the other. Could that be what the government is trying to do? The same question I asked, and we are asking to where are the new jobs? Does being engaged mean employed? Being employed? Well, this is a much we take on the program. Thank you so much, Immaculata. Thank you, Anita. I am Anita Obari, and like I asked my question, does being engaged mean being employed? If you have the answers, you can just leave it on the comment section on our social media handles, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress.